Well, and welcome to the Go Spurs Go Memes podcast, live but recorded from the Go Spurs Go Memes network studios. I am your host, Ray, and of course, I'm joined by my buddy, my sidekick, the donkey to my Kong, Mr. Sean. How are you, buddy?
Doing well, Ray. Just about ready to throw some barrels at you, my friend.
All right, Sean. So, saw you last week. Hope you had a great week. How are things going? What's going on in the world of Sean?
Things in the world of Sean are fairly boring. Still doing just work right now. Been getting home early, going to bed early. Just trying to stay, straight and narrow right now.
Straight and narrow right now.
Yes, sir. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention, I believe I'm in first place in our college pick'ems.
I believe that you are. You are actually tied for first place right now. I am
still
tied.
First.
Yeah, you are. I will bow down to that. It's true. Sean is tied for first place in our college pick'ems that we've been mentioning. I am currently tied for fourth. And Frank, the producer, is actually in eighth place right now. But we're still there's still plenty of time, and we're not separated by that many points right now.
Enough.
But great weekend of college football. Lots of things went whack. I mean, we had some predictions, Sean. I think we kind of crashed and burned on some things.
Easy. But that's why you listen.
But exactly, that's why you listen, because it's fun stuff. But we'll address college football a bit later in the podcast. As always, want to thank you guys for liking us on Facebook, following us on Instagram and Twitter. Of course, watching Periscope on Periscope Tuesday. Appreciate all that stuff. The response to the podcast has been absolutely amazing. We get emails every day from people saying how much they love it. I don't know if you believe this or not, Sean, but we actually got people wanting to be interns on the show with us.
No, I remember seeing those emails right after we did the second show. It was one guy in particular.
Exactly. And so, guys, we kind of decided we could use the help. We wouldn't be paying that person anyway. So Sean and I were kind of like, well, why not? Yeah. So we've actually added an intern to our staff. And so we'd like to go ahead and introduce him. Our new friend, Jack the intern. Jack, how are you?
Doing good. Howdy, Ray. Howdy, Sean. Howdy, Go Spurs Go Nation.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jack. What made you want to be an intern for Go Spurs Go Memes?
I've been listening to the podcast, been following you on all your social media channels, and it's been great. But I wanted to get a little bit more involved, maybe help out, see where it goes. I did graduate from Texas A&M. I'm a hardcore Aggie.
Nice.
I'm kind of looking for the new stuff to do. I'm not actually a homegrown Texan. I got here as quick as I could.
Where are you from,
Georgia?
Georgia. So you hear that? Georgia. He's from Georgia. But that's okay. But we are happy to have you here, Jack. And, guys, you'll hear Jack from time to time on the podcast with us. He'll be here getting coffee for Sean and I and getting us hot towels anytime that we need them because, this is serious work and sometimes we do get sweaty. So we do need some hot towels or cold towels.
Yeah, cold towels are the new thing, Ray. And I can't wait to get one.
I can't wait. Well, we actually kind of gave Jack the intern an assignment and we're very proud of him because he put it all together for us in a fancy little Excel spreadsheet. And we will actually get to that a little bit later in the podcast, but we're very proud of Jack, very excited to have him on board with us. Of course, here in the studio, we do have Frank, the producer, with us. We do not have Buddy, the intern, Buddy, the engineer, I should say. Buddy couldn't be with us tonight, but Frank, the producer, is here on the soundboard making sure that we sound very good for you guys. But now it's time for the news. All right, so let's see what's going on, guys, in the world of the Spurs. So, of course, the big thing this week, Spurs tickets are now on sale. Tickets are available all the way up to the All-Star break. I was kind of surprised, Sean. I actually looked this morning on Ticketmaster just to kind of see what was going on. And it looks like there's very few seats remaining. Where there are seats, it's basically nosebleeds.
Yeah, this is the first year in a long time there's been so much buzz from the offseason going into the new season that, fans are just super excited, man.
Yeah, it really is, and you can see that. So, ticket resellers is probably going to be the place to go to get tickets because Ticketmaster just has, a little bit of polka dots here and there when you look at that map to see what seats are available. We kind of give an assignment to Jack the intern to kind of look up and see, what's going on with the tickets, how are ticket prices. Jack, tell us what you see.
Well, the one thing I noticed when I looked at the Spurs ticket prices for single game options were they were a little bit higher than usual. So I wanted to look at kind of, is that a growing trend across the league? And there are 12 teams that haven't released tickets yet, but of the remaining teams in the league, the Spurs are a little bit on the high side, but they're not that bad. Golden State actually has the highest ticket value and ticket price across the board. The Golden State Warriors, along with the Spurs, are the only teams that you can actually not buy any more lower level tickets for. Now, I did just check one game per team. I wasn't going to, follow through the whole season. I didn't have
no
that
worries,
much time
Jack.
in the day.
You have the rest
But,
of the podcast.
I was actually surprised with how cheap some of the other tickets are. For the cheapest ticket that you could get for a Spurs game, at least the one that I looked at, was about $38. And that's, upper deck, the nosebleeds, those seats that we all love. But for $35, if you go to a Detroit Pistons game, you can sit in the lower level.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy. That's buying,
good.
Ticketmaster straight from the
Going straight
from
through
from the NBA. The highest actual quote unquote cheapest ticket was those Golden State Warriors, $68.
Wow.
Cheapest ticket in the house. Now I also looked at StubHub and found some really good deals if you're around the country. If you're a New Orleans Pelican fan, you can actually go to a game for $6.
Wow, $6 in New Orleans.
$6
That's
in
a
New
good
Orleans.
deal.
I'm taking the whole staff.
We should all go to a Pelicans game, I guess.
Road game.
Thanks so much, Jack, for all that information. That's great. I'm sure you'll continue looking for us, and we'll let people at home know exactly where their deals are at for the tickets and stuff. So thanks so much, Jack, for doing that for us.
No, and that's great, folks. And I mean, as soon as we'll try to find you. I mean, each week we're doing podcasts. We'll try to find you the cheap game to go to for the week because families have budgets, and we're going to try to get everybody out to see the Spurs this year.
Yeah, it's true. In the news, the NBA announced that finals are to feature more days between games. The schedule is to include 2 days between all games in which travel is necessary. So this will kind of be the NBA finals per the NBA. This is the schedule now. Game 1 will be June 2nd. Game 2, June 5th. Which is my birthday. Game 3 will be June 8th. Game 4, June 10th. Game 5, June 13th, if necessary. Game 6, June 16th. And Game 7, June 19th.
Fantastic, man. I can't wait to go to at least hopefully one of those games because that means the Spurs will be in the finals.
That's right. And hopefully they're home because that's what we want. We want them to have the home court advantage, and we will see how things turn out for the Spurs. Of course, all of Spur Nation is pretty much very positive about that we will be in the finals this year. Let's see what else. The Memphis Grizzlies have agreed to sign free agent center Ryan Hollins. The 76ers actually pursued Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard in restricted free agency.
That's a little surprising just because the Sixers haven't done anything else besides, grab up these 6'10" and taller players for the last 3 years. Yeah, they haven't gone after talent in a while, so I am a little surprised. And I kind of want to find out more how hard they pressed.
Yeah, maybe we can do some more research on that. Jack, if you take a look at that for us, maybe find out what the 76ers were trying to pitch to Butler and Leonard. That'd be pretty cool to see because they don't really have much to offer. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Marc Gasol stated during a recent interview that he'd love to play for Spain in the 2016 Olympic Games. Of course, that'd be a huge addition for Team Spain going to Rio for the Olympics. Thunder GM Sam Presti said that rookie C. Dakari Johnson will spend his first year in the D-League. Jim Moran was promoted by the Blazers to assistant coach. Pistons announced second-round pick Darren Hillard has broke his nose. He actually had surgery this past week. Will wear a mask for 3 weeks.
How fun is it wearing a mask, let alone for 3 weeks? Sign me up. That's what I'm saying.
The Austin Spurs announced they'll play a game at the AT&T Center on December 29th. Tickets will go on sale for that on October 6th.
And so, folks, we mentioned before, if you haven't had a chance to go see any kind of NBA D-League, I would go ahead and do it. Now, especially with them coming to San Antonio, show a little local pride and go see our developing players. They do get a fairly decent turnout up in Austin, but show them what San Antonio can do.
There you go. Harrison Barnes has declined an extension with the Warriors. He actually wanted his agent to take a smaller commission percentage, which is kind of surprising because the flat rate is 4% for all agents. Minnesota forward Anthony Bennett has an agreement on a contract buyout. He's actually been released by the Timberwolves. He cleared waivers today, and supposedly the Toronto Raptors are going to sign him. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, that would make Toronto pretty strong in the East, I think.
I like Bennett. I think the kid has a lot of upside. He just hasn't been in a good
time.
system. He needs time. We'll see how it turns out. Veteran guard Luke Ridenour is going to sit out the 2015-2016 season. He was traded 4 times this offseason between Orlando, Charlotte, Oklahoma City, and Memphis.
Yeah, and the other great thing, Rittenauer's been all over the world, and we're just trying to figure out where he's going to end up and actually play.
Exactly. So we'll see if he actually comes back next year. The Knicks have added DeJuan Summers. Tony Mitchell signs with the Warriors. Paul George is actually very concerned about playing heavy minutes at power forward. There's been a lot of trade rumors that if the Patriots don't do well, they're actually going to look at getting rid of him. Meta World Peace will sign a 1-year deal to go back to the Lakers, I could say.
Can't wait for them Panda sneakers, Ray.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I really want to see the Panda sneakers, so we'll see if that actually happens. Julian Stone has agreed to a deal with the Thunder. Quincy Pondexter, his knee has been messed up. He's not going to be available until November for the Pelicans. The Magic have added center Greg Stisma to their training camp roster. After 14 years, Jason Richardson has announced that he will be retiring from the NBA. Thunder player Kevin Durant has been cleared for all basketball-related activity. Coach Byron Scott says Kobe Bryant will be on hard minutes this season, so he'll be on a cap. They're not going to let him play too much. And very interesting, Sean, Phil Jackson actually mentioned that he kind of feels that this will be Kobe's last year with the Lakers, but that he will continue playing.
Well, the other great thing about Phil said, he was going to get that triangle offense killing in New York this past year. Yeah, we'll see if Kobe's still in L.A. I have my suspicions he's staying put.
Yeah. So Tristan Thompson, there's been a lot of rumors about what's going on with Tristan Thompson and the Cavs. The Cavs gave him a qualifying offer. Thompson refused it. He wants more money. He actually wants a max deal. So
good luck.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Why?
Like the Cavs are already so far over the cap. I believe they're going to pay a luxury tax right now of like $43 million, and that's without trying to add Thompson on the roster. It's absolutely nuts.
And I think Thompson's okay. He's not max deal. Okay.
He's not a max deal, not at all. But I don't understand why they're pushing for it. I mean, I know LeBron really wants him there.
Good for him.
But then LeBron kind of backed off of it and said, "Well, no, it's not really going to make a decision on if I stay in Cleveland or whatever, if Tristan Thompson is here or not." So ESPN actually reported yesterday that the Cavs had signed him to a smaller 3-year deal for about $46 million.
That's not a small deal.
It's not a small deal, and it's actually a max for him. It's just reduced in years. So instead of getting a 5-year deal, would actually only be getting a 3-year deal. So ESPN says that, and then a lot of journalists in Ohio that work for like different newspapers, like the Akron Beacon Journal, they came out and started saying that rumor from ESPN was actually wrong. Chris Broussard from ESPN is actually the guy that said, this is what's happening. And of course, we all know Broussard, Windhurst, they're big Cleveland homers, they're big LeBron homers. But a lot of people don't believe them when they come out. They always say, well, sources say yada, yada, yada. But it usually turns out that they're wrong. The only time that they're really right is when they actually kind of jack somebody else's information.
Yeah, we should start doing that.
We really should. We just start
sources say. Yeah. We're going to try to do that at least once a week, folks. And, it may be true.
It may be true. We'll see what happens. And then finally, guys, the big news, the NBA also announces that they actually had a jump in the amount of revenues from ticket sales. They added another $100 million in revenues from the 2013-2014 season. That was actually spurred on by Cleveland because of LeBron going home. Mm-hmm. They raised ticket prices. They had more season tickets. And the other cause of the jump as well was actually the Atlanta Hawks. They did so well that people started buying tickets like there was no tomorrow to go to Hawks games. So it actually helped the NBA make more money.
It's funny. Funny thing about that, my old roommate Jeff actually went to an Atlanta Hawks playoff game not last year, but 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. He ended up getting lower level playoff tickets for like $50.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's absolutely nuts because you can never get that here in San Antonio. But then again, we love our Spurs. We're completely there to support them and stuff. And that's it for the news, guys. Sean and I will be back in just a bit. And we're back. All right, guys. For this next segment, we kind of put a post on Facebook asking everybody, when you go to a Spurs game, what is your favorite adult beverage? And we had a lot of responses about that. We had so many responses that Sean and I decided to put together the Go Spurs Go Memes drinking game.
The official Go Spurs Go Memes drinking game.
Exactly. The official Go Spurs Go Memes drinking game. So before we get started, kind of tell you what our drinking game is, we kind of have to do a disclaimer. First of all, of course, no one under the age of 21. We ask that you drink responsibly. Never drink drink and drive, use a cab or Uber, and know when to say when. This game, we've kind of just put all sorts of cool things that you can use. You can use them. You can take some out. I think we have a really fun game here. Wouldn't you say, Sean?
Oh, definitely, man. When I read through the list that we created, I was like, oh, here we go.
You want to start us off, Sean?
Yes, sir. So anytime ESPN or TNT says the Spurs big three, you got to take a drink.
There you go. Anytime the Spurs are called old, you take a drink.
Any fast break by Parker, you take a drink.
Now, if Timmy banks a shot off the backboard, you take a drink.
Or anytime Timmy is shown hugging the ball, you take a shot.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Okay, anytime Boris does a no-look pass, you take a drink.
Anytime Boris beats everyone down court in a fast break, you finish your drink.
I like that one.
That one's fun.
Now, anytime there's an Aldridge to Duncan or Duncan to Aldridge that results in a score, you take a shot.
Absolutely not, because that's going to happen all the time this year, and it's going to hurt everybody's liver.
That may be one of those you want to leave out of the game.
Or take a sip. Let's do that sipping.
No, we'll leave it as a shot.
Fair enough. Or, if it's an Aldridge or Kawhi slam, you take a drink. Now that I like.
Yeah, okay. A Danny Green or Patty Mills makes a three, you take a drink.
Oh, that's a long night there, friend. Or if a random bench player, anytime they enter the game, if you have to finish your drink, I can't.
Why? I think that's a great thing. You just pick somebody random.
Oh, you pick them ahead of time.
Yeah, you pick them ahead of time. So you just say let's see, Boban. Anytime Boban comes out on the floor, you finish whatever you have in your hand.
Oh, I like that.
That's what I'm saying. I really like that one. Okay. Anytime Ginobili misses a three, you take a drink. that can happen a lot. That can kill a person, I think.
I hope the people are, and please don't play that one during the playoffs, because that's not going to feel good at all. Anytime Ginobili throws away a ball, or let's just say has a turnover, you take a shot.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime Ginobili flops, you take a drink.
You know what? That might not be bad for beginning drinkers, because he's been getting better.
He has been getting better, but if it's playoff time, that's alcohol poisoning.
Now, anytime Kawhi steals the ball, you drink.
Okay. Anytime Jonathan Simmons does a slam, you take a shot.
If Boban, Duncan, and Aldridge are all on the floor at the same time, you finish your drink.
That one.
That's a tall order.
That's a really tall order.
You see what I did there? Yeah.
I like the pun there. Hey-o. If Bonner makes a three, you finish your drink.
Why is Bonner even playing? But anyways, if the Spurs are down at half, you finish your drink.
If all 5 Spurs starters are sent to the bench, you finish your drink.
Like the hockey, when they were doing the hockey shifts this past year, I like it.
Yeah,
it's the only team that's doing it too.
Yeah.
I still like it. This is my favorite one. When Pop is being interviewed, you drink when he begins to talk, and you stop when he stops talking.
I'm glad you like that one.
That was my favorite one.
Okay, this is my favorite one. If you see Spurs Jesus on TV, you have to drink some wine.
But does it start as wine? Is my question.
I think it just has to be red wine. That's the preferred one right there.
Excellent. And if they show the Spurs mariachis, take a shot of tequila.
There you go. And that, guys, is the Go Spurs Go Memes drinking game, the official Go Spurs Go Memes drinking game. And like we said, guys, play it, have fun with it, but of course, drink responsibly. Don't do anything crazy with it. Drinking alcohol and just getting too crazy, especially if you're at the Spurs game.
Oh yeah, don't do
crazy.
that.
So don't do that.
Yeah, the Spurs jail is not nice.
Get a hotel, stay at your friend's house, whatever you need to do. Mm-hmm. Now I told you earlier, Sean. We asked all the Go Spurs Go Memes fans, what was your favorite drinks, and we had tons of responses. So we're gonna kind of go through those and give shout outs to people. So Juan Huerta was one of our first responses. He actually said Guinness is his go-to. He loves a loaf of bread and a beer glass.
Followed by Eric Salazar, who responded with the old American classic Budweiser.
Now, Matt Lee had some nice choices. He said he prefers a Bourbon County brand stout or a nice West Coast citrus IPA. You got to drink great when you watch great basketball.
God, I love that quote. Actually, I like that one a lot. We had Angela Estrada and Johnny Grego. They like the Bud Light is the best.
Nice. Don Allen Schuler says Shiner Bock, anything Shiner.
Calvin Hayden said Shinerbach or Dos Equis Amber.
Nice. Jason Salazar says ice cold Bud.
Stoner Simmons says smoking a fat doobie is one of the best things ever with a 24 case of Budweiser.
I would have never imagined that by somebody named Stoner. And actually, Stoner Simpson is probably one of the most vocal people on Go Spurs Go Memes. So shout out to Stoner.
Stoner, keep it up, good man.
CC Alvarado says a fully dressed Corona because it's delicious.
We had Freddy Jesus say land shark and barbecue.
Nice. Now, Sarah Huerta loves a good Alabama slammer or a cold Sam Adams Oktoberfest paired with a couple of grilled bratwurst. Nice, Sarah.
Very good. We had Rick Zamora, a 6-pack of Freetel Soul Doubt or Bat Outta Hellies, or a growler of Busted Sandal El Robusto. How would you say that?
El Robusto.
El Robusto with some Ranger Creek 36 bourbon whiskey.
Oh, that sounds really good.
That sounds so good.
Jeez.
Now, our friends over at Instagram also chimed in. We had the _Spurs hype say Shiner Ruby Red.
We had, and I got to do a special shout out to these next two fellas, at Aaron Noggs and at Andrew.Tomlin, because they're both only 16, and so they said for a Spurs game, they enjoy Pepsi.
So a pair of 16-year-olds say they're drinking Pepsi only? I guess their parents are listening to this podcast, too.
I think so. I'm surprised the answer wasn't milk.
Next over at Jack City 2109 says an ice-cold hurricane.
Nice.
Wow.
That's kind of hardcore.
Going straight for the gullet. I like it.
And at DP Chavarria prefers Dos Equis, as does at Angel Martinez 7. Thank you guys so much for all the feedback. Talking about all these drinking games and these wonderful drinks. Sean, what's your favorite drink to have when you're watching the Spurs?
I'm a bourbon Coke kind of guy. Just fill me up a big tall glass, watch it through. Usually the first quarter, have 2, 3 at most. Unless it's a close game, then I'll have 7-ish.
Yeah, exactly. So as you know, Sean, I'm my favorite type of drink is a whiskey and a Coke, no matter what it is. A Jack Daniels or a Maker's Mark whatsoever.
Love Makers.
And as you know, Sean, I am very famous for my Biggie Jack and Cokes, is what I call them.
Yes, sir.
So when I was back in college, my go-to drink on a Friday was to go straight to Wendy's when they used to have the big yellow Biggie cups.
Yes, sir.
And I would have a bottle of Jack with me, and I would ask for a Coke, and then I would just glug, 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 and I would carry that around with me pretty much the whole night, refilling it with Jack Daniels and Coke as the night went on. And so
thank you, Wendy's.
Yeah, in my age, I have continued the trend of a Biggie Jack and Coke, and I've actually made a meme about it. I think I did one with a McDonald's cup that was actually full of Coke and Jack Daniels with the bottle of Jack Daniels, because that's just my go-to drink. It's what I like to do.
And honestly, this is the only time I ever go through fast food drive-thrus anymore, is to get their giant cups just so I can mix drinks with them.
The funny thing too is Sonic used to be the go-to place for things
44.
like that, because get a Route 44, whatever flavor you wanted, bottle of vodka, rum, whatever you want to do,
rum and alcohol, whatever.
Perfect, And and Sean and I are very big into pre-gaming. So Sean and I like to have a good couple rounds of pre-game before we actually watch the game or actually get to the game.
We don't want to be shy.
No,
we want to have fun.
We want to have fun. Sean and I kind of turn into those loud, obnoxious people at the AT&T Center that's having a blast and end up making lots of friends throughout the night.
And you know what? God bless us.
God bless us.
Everyone.
Now, Jack the intern, he also likes to pregame. He loves going to live sporting events, loves watching football, basketball, any sport thing. Jack the intern does love to do that. At least that's what he told us. So, Jack, what's your go-to when you're watching a game, whether it's the Spurs or not? What's your go-to drink?
I'm definitely a Beam and Coke kind of guy, but especially whether it's football season, basketball season, you kind of get into the winter months. I do prefer some darker beers. I'm a big Ziegenbach fan.
I like Ziegenbach.
And Guinness every once in a while, never hurt anybody.
It's funny that you bring up Ziegenbach, Jack, because, we were talking earlier about, the beer industry and Anheuser-Busch InBev and, just kind of what's happening in the beer world right now. And I find it very interesting that Anheuser-Busch InBev is actually trying to buy Miller and Coors.
Yeah,
and it would actually make them own a third of the world's beers, which is just absolutely insane to me. But it's kind of a good thing. It's not like the best quality of beers, you know what I mean? But
wait,
that's
what
just
do you
me.
mean?
Well,
I know.
it's like Miller Lite, Bud Light's okay. there's so many better beers out there, but
Yeah.
I think we're all kind of stuck in the I'm going to have a Bud Light because that's all that's available, or I'm going to have a Coors
That's what we were
Light.
raised on too. I mean, when you went to parties, it was look in any of the coolers. It was either Bud Light, Miller Light, or Coors Light.
Or it was
Where did you go to college? It was like Keystone.
I was talking about.
and-
I was talking about growing up with my parents.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, no. Please, when I hit college,
I was going to say, like, I'm
Boone's
remembering
Farm.
like Natty Light, Boone's Farm, MD
PBR?
50, you know what I mean?
King Cobra. Can I get shout out to our friends over
Red
at King
Dog.
Co-
You remember Red Dog?
Oh.
That
Bud Ice?
But and I didn't realize that they still made
Yes,
Bud Ice.
it's high on the shelf. You have to be either
it's
tall or
strong.
desperate.
Like that's the thing I remember about Bud Ice is that it was so strong. Like you could finish a 6-pack and you'll just be like lit. You know what I mean? Just like ready to go. I mean, I didn't like doing Bud Ice a lot.
Whatever happened to Zimas? Actually, every now and again, those were kind of refreshing.
Actually, it was like if you put some grenadine in it, or like the Jolly Rancher thing, you throw some Jolly Ranchers and have a nice flavor with your Zima. I didn't mind having wine coolers either. Like I would chug those Barrels and James. Like
I haven't had a Barrels and James in years.
You guys are seriously dating yourselves.
Are we dating ourselves, Frank?
You know what, Frank? That just shows we're all over 21, which is the only reason why we're talking about it.
We are all over 21.
Analog.
If you didn't hear that, Frank, the producer who is kind of stepping in for engineer today, just kind of said that we've dated ourselves and kind of have made the system go analog.
You know what I think about that?
Meh.
I don't care.
And it also brings up another thing. Sean and I have been friends for a very long time, and we do enjoy live entertainment, whether it's a concert, whether it's a sporting game whatsoever. And one of the things that Sean and I have kind of started doing with our pre-gaming is that
Are we telling the secret?
well, we're going to tell the secret
Okay.
about pocket shots, which are the greatest invention ever.
It started a couple years ago. I found something called pocket shots. And if you're going to buy them, folks, it's going to be at the front of the liquor store, and it's going to be in a little display.
And they look really, really cheap.
Because they are. But the best thing is you can literally, and you can hide them when you're trying to get into shows. I mean, we hide them in our socks all the time. So we bring whiskey in, get the Coke as we would if we were going to Wendy's, and
Yeah, exactly.
open them up, have a couple of Boilermakers, and concerts are great.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, guys, is that it's not the highest quality of alcohol.
Oh no, it could take the paint off my car.
Oh my God! I remember Sean and I were at a concert. We were watching LMFAO. Yes, Sean and I did go see LMFAO.
Hey, it was awesome.
And it was freaking. It was
great.
fantastic. It
Yep.
was. But Sean got the idea. We had 4 pocket shots left. We were with my wife and a friend of ours at the time, and we decided we should do some shots while LMFAO shots was going on. So we proceeded to take the pocket shots and drink them. And I swear to you, it tore a hole through space and time because it burned so much.
I was able to see my own soul.
Yeah, I will never, ever just drink a pocket shot straight ever again.
And folks, we don't encourage that by any
We
means.
don't encourage it at all. Well,
Listen to our mistakes.
learn from us because, that was pretty stupid. But it was fun, Anyways, guys, like we said, thank you so much for the feedback. We appreciate it. Sean and I will be back in just a bit. And we're back. Now it's time to talk football.
Football.
So we got some pretty positive responses from us doing football, Sean. So it looks like this segment's going to be here to stay while football's, big right now in
Hell
the
yeah.
U.S. So we love talking football. So now you guys just get to listen to us talking about it. Let's start with the pros, Sean. So, of course, last week, Cowboys kind of surprised everybody. Well,
Yep.
I shouldn't say surprised because, they do have a pretty good team. Frank kind of mentioned on the last podcast, he said, it's all about Romo's health
Yep.
and it's about that offensive line. And what happened? Romo's gone. And so, Romo went out, and of course, it was just kind of meltdown. They did still beat the Eagles. The Eagles look absolutely horrible.
The Eagles are terrible.
I don't get it. Well, I was reading this
yeah.
interesting article about the Eagles that I thought was worth mentioning. Is they were saying that a lot of teams have kind of picked up Chip Kelly's schemes.
Yeah, they're seeing the packages, and they're planning for it, and so their offense.
They know exactly what they're going to do. And I was hearing that while the game was going on, the Cowboys were shouting on the sidelines because they already knew exactly what the Eagles were going to do. So they were able to just stop everything. I mean, not much yardage there for the Eagles. It's just a dismal performance by them. And I don't think the Cowboys did anything special. They didn't really need to.
No, they played solid. Their
they played
defense
solid.
Played really, Sean Lee played really well, especially for linebacker.
And what you call it? The offense did well. Romo did really well while he was there before he got hurt. Yeah. But as soon as he went down, that loud gasp by everyone. What's going to happen to the Cowboys season? And of course, they brought in the sub. He came in. He came in.
He played okay.
He played okay. But I mean, he doesn't really need to do anything because he has a good running backs, has a great offensive line. Yep. I can't not mention the offensive line. It's just one of the best in the nation. But it was very interesting that the Cowboys went ahead and traded for Matt Castle.
Yeah, I mean, they're just getting some extra insurance on that, and I can't blame them. I mean, I don't even know who their third string is, but, bring in Castle. Matt Castle's a proven starter.
What did you think about all the Tebow talk?
Yeah. It was just talk.
Tebow is never going to be an NFL quarterback.
He'll never be a starter again.
He will never, ever do it.
Yeah.
The NFL game is just not for him. Mm-mm. Sorry, it's just not going to work.
Now, the Cowboys are going to be playing the Falcons this weekend in Dallas. I actually think the Cowboys are going to win again.
You think so?
I have a feeling that they're going to win this.
The only time I've seen the Falcons is when the Falcons won their first game. I can't even remember who they played the first game. Oh, it was the Eagles.
Eagles.
There you go.
Yeah.
And they looked pretty good. But then, the Eagles did come back and they could have won that game.
Yeah, but they didn't.
So I'm not too impressed with Atlanta. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys won this weekend. But we'll see what happens there. What's going on in Houston, Sean?
Well, Houston, I mean, they tried out the other quarterback. They tried
Mallet.
Our boy Mallet. Who has a cannon arm.
And you and I have been clamoring for him for weeks now. We've been talking about him.
I've always been a fan of his since college. He was, the quarterback over at Arkansas. I mean,
Springdale 5.
God, he could just throw it halfway down the field and with almost zero effort. He has a long release, which is not terrible, but it's not ideal for the NFL. I mean, he did end up with 2 touchdowns. He had 1 interception, so he played fairly well for him. Now, the Texans' offensive line is nowhere near as good as the Cowboys' offensive line.
At all.
So I think that he's still going to get roughed up. The bad part is Arian Foster is still out this week.
Yeah, that's what I was reading, yeah.
And, hamstrings, you just want to make sure they're all the way healed because if there's still like a 2% chance, that thing's going to get pulled again.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 2 touchdowns from Mallet, 1 interception. He had 342 yards, which is pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah.
So good for him. He will be starting again this week, so we'll see how Houston does. They are playing Tampa Bay, so there's a chance. There's a chance the Texans can win, but
I'm interested to see what J.J. Watt does to Winston. I'm just interested to see that good defensive line play a rookie quarterback. I just want to watch how he reacts because this is going to be a good test to see if he's going to make it in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. What else is going on? Bears are playing the Seahawks this week. They're both 0-2. Seahawks have Cam Chancellor coming back, and I believe Jay Cutler is going to be out this week because he's injured.
Even if he was there, do you have any chance? Do you give any chance for the Bears to beat the Seahawks?
No, yeah, I don't. I think the Seahawks are gonna win. Jack, did you want to chime in?
Alshon Jeffrey's out as well. So
for Chicago,
yeah, their number 1 receiver's out.
Yeah, so folks,
so we're going with Seattle on that one.
And you may not need the mortgage payment this month because you're gonna bet on Seattle to win. I'm just saying. Well, that's enough of that pro talk, Ray. Let's talk some good old college football.
Let's get right to it. Okay, so of course we got to kind of talk about Texas, and we'll talk about the Aggies as well. So, Sean and I mentioned last week that we felt Cal would beat the Horns. They did, but it wasn't the way that we expected it.
No, not at all.
We were really expecting Cal to just kind of blow them away, and that didn't happen. I was completely surprised with how the Horns were able to stay with them, take some leads here and there.
Yeah.
The Horns looked. It's all Hurd. It's all Hurd.
It's all Hurd. There's nobody else on offense besides Hurd.
Yeah, and he totally reminds me of Vince Young, just with the better arm, much better arm.
Yeah, better delivery, better arm, faster arm.
Yeah.
The other thing, they're going to be playing Oklahoma State this week. Oklahoma State's, they're a ranked team. They've won all their games so far this year. They also haven't played anybody overly important yet. It's going to be an interesting game, and is there going to be a huge letdown for having such a close loss to Cal? Hard to say. I'm picking Oklahoma State to win.
I'll go with Oklahoma State as well, just because the Horns haven't showed me anything. But to be fair, I really haven't paid attention to Oklahoma State this year.
There hasn't been a reason to.
Yeah, there really hasn't. Yeah. But, I feel so bad for the Horns kicker who, just kind of shanked it. Missed a field goal.
The best part about that is
what?
Earlier this season, before the season even began, there was a video of him doing a backflip and kicking the ball through the uprights.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
That was him. Yeah. Hey, let's kick him front ways. I'm just saying. little less time on the tricks, kid. Come on.
But let's kind of talk about Hurt a little bit. He had 527 yards of total offense. That's better than Colton Vince. 163 yards on 24 carries, and he threw for 364 yards. Kid's got talent, but he really has no support there.
No, they have two freshmen on the offensive line, one at left tackle. It's tough.
It really is. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with the Horns, but I have low expectations for them. Mm-hmm. I just don't see them beating Oklahoma State this week. But hey, I was really surprised with what they did to Cal last week, so we'll see what happens there.
There's always a chance.
The Aggies this week are going to be taking on Arkansas in Jerry World, if I'm not mistaken. The interesting thing about the Hogs is that they actually boast the largest offensive line in the country, and that's college or NFL.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. So each one of those players actually averages a weight of 327.6 pounds. That's absent. Them some big boys.
if my mom was here, she was like, "Oh, I don't want to feed them."
Yeah. So it really is going to be a big test for the Aggie defense. And of course, Jack the intern did go to Texas A&M. He is a big Aggie fan. Jack, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about the Aggies this week?
Well, I guess I'll move back a week. We got a great win over Nevada. Which, it was Nevada, and you kind of expect to win it. The one thing that worries me, and I'll kind of break it into two parts. The one thing that Nevada was able to do was run the ball up the middle. A&M's probably got two of the best defensive ends in the country.
Yeah.
And they're quick and they're fast off the edge. But if you can delay it, and then Nevada probably ran for almost 200 yards. Straight up the gut.
And I kind of looked at the score, and I was kind of like, it just seemed closer than it should have been.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch the game, so I don't know too much about exactly how the game played out.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were like rotating underclassmen to get them some time as well. Before they start hitting that tough SEC schedule.
Right.
It's a nice time to warm up the second string.
Yeah,
they did towards the end of the game. Kyle Allen played, I think, the first three quarters. Mm-hmm. It was never out of hand, but like y'all said, it was definitely out of the out of
norm.
It wasn't what you wanted to do going into it. With Arkansas coming up, start of the SEC schedule, we have always had problems with Arkansas. There's a lot of history there. They won the first three since we started playing again. We've won the last three, but I like our chances. I think we're a 3 or 4 point favorite. We go into Dallas.
What's your pick, Jack?
Yeah, dude, we go into Dallas and win by a touchdown.
Okay, like Sean, what's your pick?
I say A&M. I say touchdown.
I say Aggies by a field goal.
Okay,
that's just my pick.
Now, folks, we're just going to go down our weekly top 10 of college football. Staying at number 1 is our friends over at Ohio State University.
The Ohio State University,
Ohio State University, which I'm a little surprised because they had a really
crappy game. Jeez, I'm actually starting to think that they're going to be beatable. Like someone's going to beat them, and I'm telling you, Michigan State kind of keeps looking better every week. I'd been saying it from the beginning. That was going to be the Big Ten game is Michigan State and Ohio State.
Speaking of Michigan State, we have them at number 2 this week. Still 3-0. They're just a full team.
They really are. Yeah,
perfect top to bottom team. They're a strong team right there. Our biggest mover this week was Ole Miss, moving up 11 spots after they handed it to Alabama.
Jesus,
what a beating! It was so great to watch. And hey, Alabama, you've done great in the past. It's so nice to watch it now.
And while we're talking about Alabama, we kind of have to mention all the rumors that are kind of happening right now with Lane Kiffin. So yesterday, kind of started on social media that Lane Kiffin got into a physical altercation with Nick Saban. He was going to
was it over hair
fired.
Products because those hair colors aren't matching.
I don't know if you've heard about this at all, Sean. You're going to love this. So it started with physical altercation. Then it became that Lane Kiffin slept with Saban's daughter. And then
I heard she's hot.
And then, no, she is.
Okay.
And then it became that he slept with a booster's wife, and he was going to be termed. So he hasn't been terminated yet. I know there's a lot
He's
of
not,
questions.
man.
I think it was just social media rumors, but it was pretty freaking entertaining to see
That's
all that.
really actually great rumors. Next on the board, we have TCU, 3-0 still. They have a good matchup this week. They're playing Texas Tech. I believe it's at Tech, so that'll be interesting. TCU hasn't been blowing away their opponents.
I'm not
this year.
impressed with TCU at all. If they don't lose now, they're going to lose to Baylor. So.
I'm interested. And speaking of Baylor, we have at number 5. The only game on Baylor's schedule I really want to watch is when they go to TCU.
Yep, that's about it. Yep.
Coming up, number 6 was my Notre Dame Fighting Irish. A little surprise. I didn't go with them last week.
I was surprised by that.
Their defense was good.
Well, Georgia Tech didn't do anything, though. I mean, their offense looked really weak out there. I was really surprised by that. But a friend of mine told me, Tech just doesn't have really good receivers.
And see, that's the funny thing, because Tech's always had great receivers in the past, but really crappy quarterbacks. And this year was the other way around.
It's a complete reverse.
They actually had a very good quarterback, but just crappy receivers. And let me see. Following that up is Georgia. Georgia at 7.
Georgia.
It's Georgia. They're always going to be top. They're always going to be ranked high, and then they'll
never
lose
trust a Mark
one or
Wright
two.
team.
Yeah, ever.
Never.
Yeah. After that, we have LSU, which I like a lot.
Talking about playoffs, things like that. I really
Playoffs?
think that LSU is a contender for it. They're looking really good. I freaking love that play with the quarterback. I can't even think of his name right now. Fournette, I believe it is. What it
Running
is.
back.
Is it running back? I thought it was a quarterback.
No, Fournette's a running back.
Anyways, but he kind of took that defensive lineman and just kind of threw him over the shoulder. Freaking epic play.
I call it the old switcheroo.
Yeah.
Always nice to see. Coming in at number 9, we got UCLA Bruins. They actually beat the once thought of unbeatable BYU this past week.
That was a great freaking game. Oh, it was so
I hate
good.
all these West Coast games that have been really good. They're just so late.
Late at night, I know. I mean, we're old. We need to go to bed by 10.
Yeah, I mean, we've been drinking we've been pre-gaming all night, obviously.
We've been pre-gaming since college game day. Jeez.
Now, following up at the end is Florida State. Yeah, they're going to lose. Just count on it, folks. I can't. They're okay. They're not the team in the last 2 years. It's going to be a lull season. Peach Bowl. Pack your bags.
Yeah, hey, that's a pretty good analysis there, Sean. And I know that Bama dropped down to like 12 or 14, something like that.
They dropped down to 12.
There you go.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, exactly. Think they'll lose another game, Sean? I think they will. Bama?
I think, honestly, I think they're going to lose. I think they can actually lose 2 more. I think they're actually going to lose to A&M, and I think they're going to lose to LSU.
Yeah, I've been saying since the beginning of the season, I felt A&M at Kyle Field, Bama would lose to them, so I'm going to stick by that.
So real quick, who do you think is going to be the bigger disappointing season, Auburn or Alabama?
Ooh, that's a pretty good one there. I mean, Auburn
Iron Bowl is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'd probably still think that Bama would beat Auburn.
I do too, but I still want to see it.
Yeah, but I think both that entire state's gonna have some disappointment this year. I think.
Oh,
poor little Alabama.
Alrighty, folks, we're getting out of here. We're going to be coming back with On the Fly.
Be back in a bit. And welcome back. Now it's time for our favorite part of the show. The part of the show that we call On the Fly. So now you're just going to kind of hear Sean, Jack the intern, Frank the producer, and myself just kind of talk about whatever we want to talk about. As we always say, guys, this is On the Fly.
That's right, Ray.
So Sean, what I'm kind of thinking that we should kind of talk about is basically, what are we most excited for this season? Because, of course, on Monday it's media day.
Yeah.
So all the media will be with the Spurs. They'll be answering questions, taking pictures, all that good stuff. And then camp actually starts on Tuesday. The first preseason game is October 8th. They're going to Miami. I mean, it's Spurs season, man. It's time to go. So what are you looking forward to this season, Sean?
And it sounds weird, but I am actually looking very much forward to seeing how the AT&T Center, all the upgrades and everything.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to see how it looks. If the chairs are, roomier, or if the top's not.
I really
death
hope
trap.
they're roomier. Oh, that's my big thing.
We're not small people, folks. Don't want to ruin the image that you hear, but yeah.
I usually see in them sequence. Did I say that correctly?
We're men. Big men. Anyways, that's what I'm looking most forward to. That, and also to see, what the pop beard is going to look like this year. He tries to change it up every now and again. Sometimes he's clean shaven. Sometimes it's full beard at pop. I'm just a little interested to see where we're going this year. Jack, what about you?
I think I'm most interested just to see how the season progresses with Tim. I think at some point we've got to be getting close to the end of his era, but we're literally watching history being made this year.
Right, I agree with you. Yeah.
And so I hope he stays healthy. Hope he just has a great year. I don't think he's going to play as much with everything, but I hope it goes well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Frank?
Actually, I'm looking forward to HEB commercials. I mean, every year, regardless of what the game is really, really fun. I like to watch and stuff. It's something to do while I'm doing other things. Go Spurs Go.
Go Spurs Go.
The thing about it
Memes.
is, come on. This is something that everybody looks for. It's like looking at the commercials over during the Super Bowl and stuff. It is part of the culture now, so why not get into it? And now we got several new players coming up there, really good ones, people that, the top pickings of free
Aldridge.
agency and stuff.
Yeah. No,
Aldridge and
we've never had an offseason like the one we just had. So
No, we never get amazing free agents, and this year was just absolutely amazing for us, getting Aldridge and getting David West. It was Christmas this summer for us.
Yeah, and so we have an official, an issue that we want to bring up with HEB. It better be good.
I think they'll be.
Outstanding.
I think they're going to be pretty damn good. HEB
They are.
they got
creative
good
with
writers.
it.
I don't
always
know who's
good.
writing for them, but they're
Maybe we should start writing HEB commercials
that'd be
because
great.
we're pretty
We want people
creative.
we want people
If you
to buy
couldn't
the
tell
product.
already.
And what do you sell, HEB?
I really didn't like that commercial with Aldridge getting drunk everywhere.
What's all this pre-partying before you go to
don't
HEB?
like Shinerbach? Coming soon to an HEB near you. Pocket shots.
Nothing like seeing Ginobili with knee-high socks smuggling in 30 pocket shots. It's going to be great.
I would love to see Ginobili say Das Boot.
Or anything.
Anything at all.
Yeah, he's not too talkative anymore. Have you noticed that? Ginobili hasn't, he's not as vocal as he used to be, especially when he was first
He's
starting.
tired, man. He has little kids.
He's old.
I think he's old, dude. He's old. He don't want to be bothered by anybody. That's why he's not talking at all. And I guess what I'm looking forward to, of course, is just going to a live game, getting back into the AT&T Center, getting a cold beer, just being there with thousands of Spurs fans, just having a good old time. And when I'm not there at the AT&T Center, it's business time for me. I'm there at home making memes, putting them up there on the Facebook page.
Business time is making memes.
Business time is making memes, making the breads.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money to be made.
it's especially during playoff time. Playoff time is
is it
really
ever.
where it's
I go to bed and I'm
nonstop
like,
memes.
and that's the best part. When it's playoff time, I'll go to bed, after the game. I'm usually awake about an hour after the game. And I'll wake up and just see 15 memes you made after I decided to go to bed.
Yeah,
it's just incredible.
It's back to back to back. It's just nonstop memes. And I just hate that Facebook algorithm that just doesn't let people see them all unless you purposely go to the page and try to find them on stuff because you'll only see a couple.
Yeah. Hey, Facebook, step it up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So what else? What else are we excited about with this upcoming season? We have new players. I'm excited to see rotations. I really hope there's going to be a point where we have, the three towers. We have Boban, Timmy, and Duncan out on the floor at the same time. Not because I don't know if that'd be a successful lineup, but I just kind of want to see it.
Yeah.
What's going to be their big lineup? What's going to be their small lineup? What's going to be their shooting? And their defense for matter. And with Aldridge, with Duncan in there, and all on the same floor, you got to see that's got to be a problem with a lot of offenses. I want to see some matchups in there.
Yeah.
How are they going to match up with Golden State and basically shooting off the perimeter,
Right.
Stuff like that. How is San Antonio going to match up to them? Again with LeBron, everybody's going to pay attention to that. Of course.
We have Kawhi.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Who, what, when, where, Kawhi?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't be so quiet, Sean.
I'm sorry, Ray.
And I really would love to see a lineup where there's Kawhi and Jonathan Simmons on the floor at the same time.
Man, you've been high on Simmons since.
I really have. I'm excited to see the kid.
Yeah.
He did amazing in summer league. He's
D-League?
full of energy. Yeah, summer league. Yeah.
No. Do you think he's going to spend any time in the D-League? I'm sorry.
No, I don't. He has a fully guaranteed contract.
Cool.
He'll be on the roster. Unless something happens, there's injuries that need to move players around or something, they may end up sending Kyle or him back up to the Austin Spurs.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be on the roster. I really want to see a time where Kawhi and Simmons are on the floor together, just because of the energy and the athleticism that they'll bring to the floor. I really want to see that.
And it's weird to actually say that with the Spurs, athleticism and energy, because outside of Ginobili in the last 10 years, we really couldn't say that too much. Parker a little bit, but he was never known for his defense. The way you're talking up Simmons, I'm thinking,
Dude, Simmons and Jimmer. I'm telling you right now, I am pro Jimmer. Jimmermania is going to completely take over San Antonio. I'm convinced that kid is going to be on the roster. He's going to get that 15th spot, and I think he's just going to flourish in the system. I think I would be really sad if he doesn't do well with the Spurs, because the kid has tons of potential. He just needs a good system.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. A couple of the other things that we're excited about, the rodeo road trip.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see who they're going to play on that road trip. I know we have an idea of who they're going to play, but
the best thing about that, Sean, is that we now have our own intern.
That's right, Ray.
That can actually put information together for us. Jack, what do you got for us?
So I had a look at the schedule. The highlights, of course, we do start the regular season October 28th at Oklahoma City.
Boo.
And then we come home on October 30th. The first home game is against the Nets.
Brooklyn.
Other
Jay-Z,
kind of good games. November 11th, we go to Portland, so Aldridge goes back home.
Ooh.
Well, his old home now.
And that's his only time going back to Portland this year, too.
That is true.
And it's going to be so weird to see all those angry hipsters in Portland getting mad.
Angry on their bikes, eating donuts.
Oh, they're going to have their beards fully pointed. Don't you worry about that.
The Spurs have a Christmas game at Houston, which will be all right. You mentioned the rodeo road trip, February 9th to the 27th. We travel to Miami, Orlando, the Clippers, the Lakers, Phoenix, Sacramento, Utah, and Houston.
No,
and then are back
that really
home
is.
on March 2nd against the Pistons.
Hey, it's a nice welcome home.
That's a nice welcome home.
That's
exactly. Yeah, that is.
Thank
you, NBA.
We get Cleveland on January 14th. We go to Cleveland on January 30th. And I think probably the thing that stood out to me the most, so end of the year, it's always a playoff puzzle in the West. These are our last 5 games. We go to Golden State. We go to Denver. We get Golden State at home. We get Oklahoma City at home. And we finish out the year on April 13th with Dallas.
That's a tough 5-game stretch right there. It really is to end the season. And then just knowing how the West is going to be this year, it's going to be tight. Everybody's reloaded. Everyone's ready to go. You have the Spurs. You have Oklahoma City with Durant back. You have the NBA champion Warriors. You have the Rockets that have been upgraded. You have the Clippers that have been upgraded. I mean, the West is going to be really, really tough this year. And to have a final 5 games like that, I mean, it's tough. But I mean,
but by that time we'll have a 12.5 game lead, so we don't have to worry about it that much when you think about it. At least that's my hope.
We've already broken 72 games. We've already beat the Chicago record, so we should be good.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I don't know why anybody else should be.
And then speaking of the Cleveland games, I'm of course really looking forward to that.
In the East,
there's nobody in the East that's going to challenge the Cavs right now. So Cleveland's going to go to the finals. Everyone's picking them to go. More than likely, they will go.
Who do you think is going to be number 2 coming out of the East?
I don't know, man. I mean, I really think number 2's open. You think Atlanta?
I think Atlanta's going to repeat. They're going to get stronger. I think Thiago's there. Thiago's a system player, similar system how he was with the Spurs. I think they're going to be strong, and then also Toronto.
Oh,
that's
out there. Okay,
I would say that's almost a
yeah.
Who would have picked Atlanta leading the East for most of the year last year? Honestly,
you are right about
the
that.
Other thing too. I mean, they were plagued with injuries, obviously, in the postseason. So as long as they stay healthy, there's no telling where they're going.
Yeah,
and I'm curious to see how Miami does this year as well. I think they can compete for number 2. They got some upgrades this summer.
If Bosch can come back from his medical issue,
and they actually had a press conference with him yesterday.
He had
blood clots. They say that there's a very, very small chance of blood clots will return. He's completely healthy. He's been cleared. So Bosch is back. So I really think that Miami will challenge for number 2 in the East. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Chicago. New coach over there because they got rid of Thibodeau.
Now, I did hear one interesting thing about one of the Spurs giveaways this coming up season. For the Cleveland game, we're actually giving out hand warmers because we're going to try to keep LeBron's legs hot. Because we know he can't handle the heat. Oh, you see what I did there?
Ooh, burn, Sean. You're so original.
Forgive me, LeBron. I don't care.
So anyway.
Anyways, so way to stop a Mack truck right there, Sean.
Actually, what I'm looking forward to is Anthony Davis. I really thought he would come out.
He's had injury after injury, but God, he is good.
I thought they would come out, to the second round at least.
Yeah.
And, that would be his come out. It basically is.
But his first round matchup was tough as hell.
Yeah, it really was. But I mean,
Golden State in the first round.
He deserved it. I'm honestly.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
But he's bulked up this summer. He's starting to practice threes. He's hitting threes now. A new coach, Alvin Gentry. You know, I actually think he's going to be pretty freaking amazing this year. But
that
you know,
unibrow is so fantastic.
hey Bert, rubber ducky Bert.
How great would it be if they have a rubber ducky night?
Oh yeah,
See,
genius
back and forth.
ideas. You see, I'm telling you, we should write HEB commercials. But yeah, I know, right? Who can we contact in HEB?
connections.
I know this checker.
If you're listening to this podcast and you work for HEB, please contact us at Go Spurs Go Memes at Gmail. Thank you.
And that goes for all sponsors, especially any of them that want to feed us. We'll totally mention your name repeatedly.
Call us on the hotline, 1-800. You'll get it.
Fantastic. So what do you got going on this week, Ray?
Really, I don't have anything. I might do Overtime Sports on radio on Tuesday. That's kind of up in the air right now. They want me to come back. They want to trash me for my picks, the college pick'ems that I had the other day.
They have.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I don't mind going on there. I love chatting with those guys.
Yeah.
They are fun. So we'll see what happens. This is go time as well at work for Hollow Scream. I got some rehearsals this week, and then we have employee preview party on Thursday. So that should be fun. Having a lot of great time doing that stuff as I do every year. So that's kind of my week this coming up.
Yeah.
How about you, buddy?
Continue working. I'm going to be putting in a 6-dayer this week, I think. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to get off just in time to watch Notre Dame play Clemson.
No, Frank, what do you got going on, bud?
A lot of parties, like birthday parties, because I have a kid and she's got friends and everything.
Pump it up.
I gotta go up there, pump it up. Actually, yeah.
Who's ready for some bounce castle action? Am I right?
And also, I'm also going to recover from my flu shot that I got up here earlier.
Oh, very
Just
nice.
because you put a
Arm's
sticker
little
on your
tired.
arm doesn't
No,
mean you got a flu
actually,
shot.
Tomorrow for Big Brothers and Big Sisters, there's actually a little bowling tournament going on over at Bandera Bowl.
Nice.
And I'm part of one of the teams up there. And part of that is designing a bowling pin, which I created.
Oh, so that was the point of the bowling pin.
Yeah, it was,
I didn't know what you were doing.
What they gave.
I
like,
thought you were
bowling
just
pins
getting
for
really
everybody.
brave.
Indeed, it's got a red tip. But indeed, if you look at it, I made it like a retro rocket kind of feel, an industrial World
Like a
War
red
II
rocket?
50s up there. Yeah, exactly.
I
See,
gotcha.
you get
Nice.
the subtleties involved in it too.
Anyways,
Jack, what do you got going on, bud?
minutes.
I think I'm going to go to Lockhart tomorrow and get some barbecue.
hell yeah,
Nice.
man.
For the Aggie, and then be back for the Aggie game.
Now,
Or who knows? I might just end up in College Station.
Which place are you going to? Are you going to hit multiple?
Black's is the only one that I haven't been to yet.
And that's the only one I have been to. It was the very good meat. The sides were out of this world. And I know you don't go to Lockhart to get sides with barbecue, but theirs was really good. I'm just saying. So
Duly noted.
yeah.
Fair enough.
bad.
Besides that, not a whole lot. I'm really excited. I actually have stuff to work on this week. So
Yeah, I mean, Jack, you've done a wonderful job.
Yeah, for real.
Coming on for show, talking on air with us. Sean almost killed himself with the mic right now. It basically went all up in Sean's mouth there. But Sean's
That's a
okay.
first.
That's a first. So thanks so much, Jack, for coming on. We've given Jack some more assignments. He's been great. He's got us coffee. He got Sean a hot towel.
It was great. Thanks, Jack. And also, if you guys have any ideas of stuff that Jack can work on, please email us.
Definitely, guys. If you have ideas, like I always say, shoot us an email, gospursgomemes@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, following us on Instagram and Twitter. Of course, like the page on Facebook, share it with friends and family. We're almost at 11,000 likes. That's absolutely crazy to me. But thank you guys so much for the support. We want to do a shout out to one of the best dads in the San Antonio era, Mr. John Buckley, that's here with us in studio. He actually brought us some delicious cookies today that we've been
Sporting
snacking
the
on.
Spurs shirts.
Exactly. He does have his Spurs shirt on.
He changed shirts before we came, actually.
Yeah. So it's always a great thing to have John in studio with us. As always, guys, we will talk to y'all next week. Thank you guys so much, and go Spurs go.
Memes.
hey, don't touch it like that.
Jake, get that. Stand over there. Say something.
I don't know what
Not
that means.
you, Sean. I need you to test the mic. No, the other side.
The testing the mic.
He's got.
Damn it, Sean, you're going to get Frank upset.
Frank, do you want to